Good afternoon, everyone. This is Felix Garcia, aka the Finance Pastor, and what an honor and a privilege it is to spend some time with you. What a week it has been in the stock market. The S&P 500 breaking new records and new highs. Also, the Nasdaq has been crushing it and breaking new records. The Dow Jones has been looking from a distance, hoping to catch up to the party. But what a week it has shaped up in the stock market. There are many things going on, many tariff talks. There are many companies and many countries that have already agreed. Japan has already agreed in principle to a trade deal with the United States, fueling a lot of the movement up this week. We are headed into August the 1st. Will the tariff deadline loom over the countries that have not yet participated in a deal with the United States? Will the United States continue the tariff push, or will these countries make a deal at the deadline? Or will President Trump move the deadline either further into space, depending on what happens this week? We are going to see a lot of moves in the stock market. We have some heavy hitters that are coming up to bat in the stock market. First of all, we have Meta and United Healthcare that are reporting earnings on Tuesday. Microsoft is reporting earnings on Wednesday, and on Thursday we have Amazon and Apple, some major hitters that can sway the market either up or down. I believe this will be another bullish week for the stock market, but who knows? The market could turn. Anything can happen when you have many factors that are going in through tariff talks, the economy, and also President Trump and Chairman Fed Jerome Powell were able to speak together, and probably a little light banter, but I'm hoping that things could get resolved and that we will have a rate cut in the United States because we needed to boost the economy. President Trump said something very clearly that the United States, if the United States thrive, the whole world thrives, and we should be the lowest interest rates. And I agree with that. Many people who criticize the interest rates that inflation will go up through the roof, well, that's what happens when you deal with a fiat currency. It is going to go down to zero. So you got to play the game in order if you want to win. So fiat currency, you got to understand the rules of the game, and the inflation will continue. Many people, we want to share an article have been talking about a lot of the moves that have been happening in the country with the interest rates. Hopefully, things will work out. I'm believing that President Trump and Chairman Powell will actually come to an agreement. Will the Fed cut rates? Is yet to be seen. There's 9 months left on Chairman Powell's tenure. I believe that he will want to leave a legacy that is actually in a place where he moved the United States forward. That's the thing is it's all about legacy, and that's what he wants to do. I think he will cut rates. If he just wants to stick it to Donald Trump, he will not cut rates. So that's what I mean. My points are there, right there. You start seeing that the economy is at a great place. If you're not investing in the stock market, what are you waiting for? The stock market waits for no one. And the United States is going to see a big push to the upside. You should invest in companies and things you love. Some of the leaders, the Max 7, your Apples, your Amazon, your Teslas, your Nvidias, those type of companies you should be looking at. Netflix is a big mover, and you're going to start seeing that many people are going to pad their portfolios in the next few months because of the discounts that you're seeing in the market. I love the stock market. Why? Because there's a lot like shopping. It's like buying a Louis Vuitton purse, but you want to pay a TJ Maxx price. See, many women are very great traders. What makes them a very good trader? Whether they're married or they're single or they run a household, many women are tasked with running the financial well-being of the household, and they know how to stretch a dollar. They know they have a big family, how they can buy things on discount. Or if you're a business owner, you understand the profit and loss statement, understanding that if you have a product, you have to buy it at X amount price and you have to sell it for a larger price so you can make that profit off that spread. Now, one of the things that we look at is stock trading is a lot like just shopping. You're looking for discounts. You're understanding when is a stock price, a good stock price, very low, and when is a highly priced stock where you need to wait for it to drop and buy on a dip. So you're starting to see that there's a lot of buying action on Tesla once it hits the 300 mark. You've seen a lot of retail traders either buying the dip, or what you may have is a lot of institutional buyers that have placed buy orders for Tesla stock around the $300 range, 295 range, and you seen that stock hit that mark and it just takes off. I'm looking at Tesla to keep bouncing off that $300 mark. And if they get their way and they get the push for robo taxi in San Francisco, you could see that stock just take off a little bit on Monday and see a big push to the upside. Even though that stock has been beat up this week, lost about 28 points just off the earnings. But we all knew that that stock was going to get beat up with everything that Elon's been going over the last few months since February. We knew sales were going to tank. That's not like a shocker. But what we are seeing is, will he rebound? And one of the things is that Elon is a person that knows how to like get rid of the noise. He doesn't care about the stock price. He gets rid of the noise. He's an innovator, and people who have his type of high IQ really know how to block the noise and where they can intently focus on their project, whether it's SpaceX, whether it is Starlink or Tesla in itself, or many other projects that he's involved with. Elon Musk is going to tune out the noise. So I'm believing this stock is going to continue to go up. Now, short term is going to be a rocky road, but long term, I'm still bullish on this stock. I still think this stock could be going to the $850 range, the 850. And I really do believe that. I thought it would have been this year, but then he opened his mouth and stuff happens. So you got to roll with Elon Musk in the good and the bad. And I choose to do that. I have stocks that I own, the Tesla stock, but then I also trade options on both sides because the volatility is there, and many retail traders that understand that you can make money on the both sides. And with the volatility, you really can make your money grow, especially on the options chain market. Now, when we look at Tesla, it's gonna where it's gonna go, I don't know, but hopefully it goes up from here. I want to share my screen. I want to look at something that I found very interesting. And I had this discussion on TikTok with someone here, was that they were complaining about, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago how the buyers are in position to get better discount from sellers on deals. I deal with real estate. I've been flipping houses since 2016. And I've always made concessions when I've closed, whether it's either closing costs or whether it's a price down, buy down on the no, or whatever it is, or just I wanted a stove, an extra refrigerator, whatever it is. I've always made certain concessions. What you've had during COVID and even that 2 to 3 year mark where is you had a lot of cash buyers sight unseen where people was just offering cash, all cash, sight unseen, close quickly in 30 days. Those days are over, at least for right now. What you're starting to see is more buyers have choices, especially if they're paying a higher interest rate. They're going to want to get their money's worth. And a lot of these buyers have been waiting patiently, and they don't feel like they're being pushed around anymore by having to make a decision right then and there. And where you're seeing is a lot more concessions where the seller is more the person that I need to close, especially if you have a high interest loan, if you're doing hard money, if any type of loan that just carries a higher interest rate where you need to get rid of the property, or if you're holding on the property, every month that you hold on to the property, you're losing uh, either equity position because of the interest payments just eats at your equity position at the sale of a home. So you're starting to see what a lot of people are canceling. Home sales are surging way up as buyers walk away. And a lot of things that I love about this article that it was saying here is, let me go back to it, is that they're looking at, I want you to read part here. It says something pretty cool. Buyers, many of whom are struggling to afford record high home prices but feel emboldened to having more inventory to choose from, are proving increasingly willing to end contract negotiations when they disagree with sellers over like pre-sale repairs. A portion of sellers meanwhile have hefty equity position and low mortgage rates that leave them in no rush to move when contract negotiations hit roadblocks and they can't get the price they want. Many sellers simply put their homes off the market. And where you have here, you have certain people where lower interest rates, and then you have people that are paying higher interest rates. Those are the people that are willing to deal. And where you're starting to see is as if they lower the interest rates, and this is the part of is if Chairman Powell, and I'm gonna if Chairman Powell lowers the interest rate, what you're going to see is that many of the home prices will go up. But what you're also going to see is that you're going to have the home builders are going to start building again because now the interest rates are low where they can take out bigger loans to build. And what you're going to have is an oversaturation in the market where you have many people, the buyers are going to have a field day in building in their choosing in housing right now. I believe it's going to be a buyer's market for the next 2 to 3 years. Really do, where they're going to have choices of where they want to live and how big of homes they want to have. Now, will they come with other incentives on buying new homes? That's something that you have to look at. FHA, VA loans, seeing what kind of offers and what type of mortgage instruments are banks allowed to do, whether it's a 5% or 10% um, uh, down payment or whatever it is, or whether there's a new home buyer assistance, or if you have a job, a stated income. I don't know. I don't know about the stated income loans. Those would be good, but that's not happening anymore. The good old days of real estate. So what we're looking at that. Let's share the screen. I also want to look at what other news do we have here. Anything of note? Genius Act expected to make use of stable coins more widespread. This you need to look at right here. Genius Act that was passed last week is huge for crypto. If you are not investing in cryptocurrency, you should have that in your portfolio. I have been investing in Bitcoin. I've been investing in Ethereum, Litecoin. I also have XRP, XLM, Cardano, HBAR. I have Doge, and I have really been adding to my crypto portfolio. Now, one of the things that I want to share is I've also been adding, let's go right here, Bitmine Immersion Technology, BMNR. One of the biggest reasons I've invested in this company over the last week, first of all, it has taken off like a skyrocket. It has been huge. One of the biggest things is that one of the biggest, the two of the biggest investors here is Peter Thiel. He's has a 9% stake, and you have Kathy Wood, who sold positions in Coinbase and Robinhood, and has put several millions of dollars into this company. If this company just announced that they have $2 billion worth of Ethereum, that is huge. And you have to look at Peter Thiel. I made money with him on Palantir, and it has done very well for me. And I follow what other people that are smarter than me are doing. You have investors like Kathy Wood, who has a very great resume. So I follow what they're doing a lot. That's kind of what I do. I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to follow a person who is smarter than me and follow exactly what they're doing. I call it the mentorship apprenticeship approach. They're just mentoring me from a distance. They just don't know that. You start seeing that this is a phenomenal stock ETF right now that I'm looking that will take off. I'm looking at what this stock is going to be in 5 years. I'm going to be loading up. I'm doing dollar cost averaging on this. As it goes lower, I'm looking to add more to my position. And this is a stock that I'm bullish on. And I just added this to my position. You start looking at the let's start looking at the S&P. The S&P 500 keeps taking off with all confidence on the United States. President Bush's excuse me, You have President Trump with his wheelings and dealings in the world. This country has taken off. We are the hottest country in the world, and thanks to a president who is leading by example, who is leading through peace, through strength, we have seen the S&P 500 just continue to skyrocket. If you have your own portfolio, your retirement account, you are seeing a huge move, and you should be happy. If you having someone manage your mutual funds, well, you're probably not as happy because you haven't seen the returns as if you just controlled your own stock. But the S&P 500 has done this V shape right here. What a beautiful little V shape, and records it has broken this week. New highs, along with the Nasdaq, have been bullish. Again, Nasdaq following this V shaped curve. If you have a downturn in the stock market, technology will be the first one. I could see the stock market fill this gap right here in that $20,000 range if there was a downturn. Now, if the bullish sentiment continues and we start seeing more money pouring in from other countries through tariffs and investments in bringing companies back or manufacturing back, this is going to be a really big run for the United States and the Nasdaq technology. Dow Jones, you just been looking on the sidelines, just wondering, hey, let me into the party. But right now there is a V, but it has been a very thwarted V shaped recovery on the Dow Jones. People who've been waiting on the sidelines on this one. What just wondering where's they're gonna get a chance to participate in the run like the S&P and Nasdaq. The VIX really has been lower, going lower, other than March of this year. Other than that, it's been really moderate. Apple, again, earnings this week, Thursday. This is a huge company's earnings, part of the Max 7. I love Apple because I use their products. It's on my list. I love using their products for Apple. But one of the things that Apple does not do is does not innovate like it used to. You don't innovate like it used to. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking for it to find some of its mojo back. That's what I'm looking for. Can Apple find their mojo back? And I believe that Apple has always led in innovation. Right now you're really trailing and you're watching other people move forward. So I hope Apple gets back to their DNA. I am bullish on the stock. I believe the stock is going to continue to go up. Netflix, again, I am bullish on this stock. This stock has had a little reprieve from its all-time highs, and I'm looking for the stock to continue to go up. But also, you should be looking at this dip that is doing and consider buying. If it drops some more and it goes under that $1,100 mark, I would load up and buy the dip. You'll start seeing that in that $1,000 range, that $1,050. If it hits that range, it's going to go bounce back up. I will look right here around 1,069. If it does go down, look for it to bounce off that 165 ish, or 150, 160 ish. It could bounce off of it if it comes down that far. QQQ, again, I've been following this one. I'm in an option trade on this one, so I'm just watching this one go up. It has been just following the Nasdaq. QQQ, I've been trading for over 18 years. I've traded this probably the longest. I remember when this was a $40 stock. I wish I would have had more of those, but you coulda, woulda, shoulda. You never know, but that's life. But the Qs, again, it's going to make another move. I believe that this week it could make another move to the upside, pending what happens with Microsoft, pending what happens with you got Amazon, Apple. Those are big movers, and you also got Meta that is reporting earnings on Tuesday, so that's a big move for them. Jets, you start seeing the Jets stock symbol. Will it continue to go up? It has a little turbulence with American Airlines not reporting good earnings. Delta really has led I'm a million miler on Delta. It's in this portfolio. One of the things that's holding up this stock is also Royal Caribbean. It has a little bit of it in it. Uh, and Royal Caribbean, again, it's another stock that I've been bullish on since last year. I said this stock was a $250 stock. It has surpassed it, is in the 352 range. This stock is really a company that many people who don't like Carnival, or maybe people who like just the upper echelon of type of travel, maybe the target of travel, they'll pay a little more. And that's why you see companies like Royal Caribbean, Norwegian doing way better than Carnival Cruises when their clientele is more a higher end or more that middle class level. Nvidia again setting record highs. This company I'm bullish. I mean, it's just continue to run, and it had a great decent earnings. I think it's just going to continue to run. You cannot ignore how much how much business Nvidia has, how many people want their product, and the backlog. I mean, they have one of the best problems available for any business, which is too much, too much, too much. That's a good problem in business, too much. So the many people want their products. So that's what you're seeing with Nvidia, is that they have a great problem. And as the evolution of AI keeps going and people want their processing chips, you're going to see this company continue to go up. And right now is going to be the most valuable company in the United States as we move forward. Amazon, again, momentum is on Jeff Bezos' side. The stock has had a good run, had a little laggard over the last few weeks, also with just kind of following that V-shaped recovery. But momentum is on Jeff Bezos' side. He's a good innovator, but he's also just got married. I mean, what better thing? I mean, no more sin, man. No more sin. I mean, brother, he who findeth the wife findeth a good thing, man. So I hope you and your lovely bride have years of happiness, and that what God brought together, let no man put asunder. And we're looking at that, and I'm bullish on Amazon. So Jeff Bezos, you got it going on, my dude. AMD, this stock right here has broken this pattern. I've been glowing on this stock for the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've been bullish around this area. I said around the 130. If it broke it, you got to run in on AMD. This stock is just crushing it, crushing it. I believe this stock could go back up to 210, 220-ish vicinity. I don't think you missed the run, but you missed a big chunk of the run. If this stock does somewhat of a doji on Monday, or if you're looking at that, maybe take a breather, you need to consider jumping into this stock. Let's look at Ford. Ford is one of those that I have in my portfolio. It's not a huge money maker. What I love Ford is I love doing covered calls on Ford. If you are a very conservative type of trader, cover calls is a strategy where you're renting out stocks. You're making like about 1%, 2% a month. And you do that over a year, you're looking at 14, 15, 16% plus you add the dividends, and you can add, which is another 4 to 5%. You do pretty 20% on a stock that doesn't really move, plus you still have equity. That's one of those things I like about a stock like Ford. Ford is like if you're a real estate investor, think of it as a working class neighborhood that you're renting out. It's a working class neighborhood, not middle class, working class. Not poverty level, but working class. Steady Eddie, they're going to show up to work. And as long as people love Ford, it has a huge buying power in the hearts of a lot of people in the United States. I am one of them. I drive a Ford, got an F-150. It's got almost 300,000 miles. So I understand the quality of this truck, and I'm a Ford head, I guess. So I like Ford. It's a great covered call candidate. If this is not on your watch list, this is something that's very affordable. You look at it, you have $1,500, $3,000. You could buy 200, 200, 300 shares of this, and then do cover calls 1%. I mean, you start doing this over time you have 1,000 shares. Over time you have 10,000 shares. You do covered calls like that, you start making a big difference in your portfolio. So this is one of those steady Eddie stocks that I like. SPY, again, ETF for the S&P 500. It's kind of like the QQQ for the Nasdaq. I love this. Keeps following the pattern of the S&P 500. Meta, I am bullish on Meta. Like I've said time and time again, Mark Zuckerberg, to me, is the sleeper in the AI movement. And I'll say that again. Mark Zuckerberg is the sleeper in the AI movement. He's got one of the biggest data centers around. You start seeing the deals that he's doing with Constellation. And I'm looking to add energy stocks into my portfolio. Constellation is one of them. Peabody is one of them. Oklo is another one. And there's many others. And I'm trying to decide which one I want to add to my portfolio. But we are going to need nuclear power in order for the AI data centers. Everything that's being built or talked about over the next 2 to 3 years needs nuclear power. And you're going to start seeing a lot of energy companies that will just really boom on the energy consumption that's going to be needed. And I believe the United States has the willpower and the capacity to make this happen. Meta, to me, is going to be one of the leaders in the AI movement. Mark Zuckerberg has always been in the in, he's always been on the next thing. And I believe is going to continue in the AI movement. Meta, bullish on Meta. I believe that this should be $1,000 stock. Again, I believe that Meta is undervalued even at 700. I've been saying this for 6, 7 months. A Meta, put that in your portfolio. The Diamonds ETF, it is following this pattern, really following this pattern. You start looking at the spiders just really following what the Dow Jones is doing. The Dow Jones has taken a breather, so has the Dow Jones. The diamonds follows that. Russell 2000. If you're a credit spread trader, the Russell has been very predictable over the last several years. You start looking at that, it has been from that 18, that 16, $1,700 range into that $2,400 range, in that vicinity. And you start seeing that if we start seeing rates being decrease, many of the companies in the Russell 2000 live and die by interest rates and borrowed money. So this will be a huge boost to the Russell 2000. If interest rates are lowered, watch this take off like a rocket ship. Tesla, again, Tesla is one of those stocks that I love, is in my portfolio. You have to have a stomach to trade Tesla. What I am seeing in Tesla right now is that you're having big institutional buying, or you have a lot of retail presence. When this stock hits that 295, 300 range, 305 range, you're starting to see that many people or institutions are buying up this stock. One of the big things that may happen over the weekend, and I'm staying close to the news about this, is that the robo taxi launch in San Francisco, would it be allowed? That would be a key indicator that could give a bump to Tesla stock on Monday or Tuesday. But you're starting to see that even off the lows, even off the 20% to a $28 loss that it took, it already regained at least like about 40% of that back. If the stock gets good news, it'll bump up again. But this is a stock that many retail traders love trading, institutional investors that believe in the technology of Elon Musk. They're looking at what is coming down the pipeline, what is he bringing to the table, despite of what he's saying. This is the only reason why his stock is really down, is he just opened his mouth. So you gotta, if you're gonna roll with Elon Musk, you gotta roll with him in the good and the bad. That's how I feel. You know, if I'm gonna roll someone in the good and the bad, I'm gonna roll with you. So right now, I'm rolling with you right now, just because I believe that you're the innovator of our time, like the Tom Edison. You're the Henry Ford of our time, man. And I really do believe that. Palantir. One of the things that I love about Palantir is that it has been taking off. You start looking at as a Christian investor with Palantir, you start reading that the book talks about that Revelation, the book of Revelation talks about there will be rumors of war, there'll be wars and rumors of war. Well, to me, as a Christian, I see that as God telling me what's about to happen. He's giving me like insight, almost like what Biff is doing to in Back to the Future, just giving him the Biff of his younger self a picture of all the sports bets. Well, God is telling us what's going to happen. We will go to one world currency. We will go to a one world order. Now we will have wars. Well, if we're going to have wars, why not invest in companies that supply the department? You look at Palantir, you look at Northrop Grumman, you look at Boeing, you look at Raytheon, you look at Booz Allen, and so many others, Halliburton, that fit in this category. You should be looking at these companies, especially as we are selling arms to other countries, especially with what happened in Saudi Arabia. We will be selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, to Israel, to Qatar, and other countries. That's part of doing business. Palantir is one of those stocks that fit in that category where you're going to see big movement. I would not be shocked to see this stock in the 200 to 50 range over time. It's just one of those stocks that where you see Peter Thiel and other people who have the inside scoop in Washington. And not only that, but they have the president's ear. You have to look at where the money in Washington is going, and that's regardless whatever party you're in. So Palantir is on the buy zone. Coca-Cola, last one we're going to look at, it's a steady Eddie. This is a dividend stock plus a covered call type of stock. This is just like Ford, not a heavy mover over time. Yes, it does well, but then you're looking for this stock to just be a steady Eddie. Steady Eddie's type of stock. This is what I like. Dividend king, and this is where you play the long-term game with these type of stocks. So we look into so many great things that are happening in the stock market. I want to look at other headline news that may. One of the things, oh yeah, the EU chief and Trump are meeting in Scotland. Let's see what happens if this turns out to be something that's feasible. Nothing, pretty much everything the same. I mean, blah blah blah. We looked at some of the stuff that we looked at. Master plan is, with Elon Musk, he's a game changer. You just don't know, and you don't want to bet against him. But I look forward to seeing what are the next things that are going to happen in the stock market. I want to see what happens next in the stock market. Will the stock market continue its run? I don't know, but one thing that I know for certain is that you should be investing in the stock market. Whatever you're doing, whether you're investing a little bit every time you get paid, whether you're investing 10, 20, 30% of your check, whatever it is, you should be investing in the stock market. The United States is in a place where it is going to take off like a rocket ship. If you want to pad your portfolios, if you want to add to your legacy, or if you want to build your family trust, this is the time to start buying stock. Also, you should be investing in crypto. I'm looking at companies like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are the two big ones. But then I'm looking at other altcoins, like you're looking at XRP, XLM, HBAR, Cardano, and many other like different type of coins that could be the next Bitcoin or Ethereum. You have a lot of those that are building off the 1.0 of crypto, and there's many companies that are building the off the 2.0, which I think that's where Ethereum is at. But then these altcoins are building off the 3.0 of crypto, of the technology that is making that a viable solution. That's why I've been investing in Bitmine, BMNR. I saw Peter Thiel and I saw Kathy Wood invest in them early this week. So I love following people who are doing better than me, and I'm looking at what they do in their portfolios and what they have in their portfolios. As you grow and you expect this great week in the stock market, the tariff situation is going to be a huge thing that may drive the market even forward and just bring it to new highs. If the tariff gets at least somewhat situated and they come to the table and deal, you're going to see that the United States is going to take off. So, whatever you feel, wherever you're at in this market, whether you're bullish or you're bearish or you're hoping for something to happen, or you just just twiddling your thumbs and just waiting for whatever happened to happen, I don't know what it might be to you, but you start looking at starting to move your family forward. There's many of you here that have dreams or visions that haven't yet been fulfilled, and some of you are looking for opportunities to make those dreams become a reality. Let that be the stock market. Let that be real estate to move your family forward. Many of you, God has given books and you're still waiting on them, man. God has given you books 5 years ago and you're still waiting. And I don't know what you're waiting for, but God is waiting on you to move forward. Just like he told the children of Israel in the book of Exodus, chapter 14. Move forward. God is waiting on you. I look forward to just sharing with you what happens in the stock market. Until next time.